Hooray! It finally happened. Today is the last episode in the series about demolishing the old buildings on my property. In the previous video, I already removed part of the floor, and we uncovered an old cellar that had to be filled in before I could continue the demolition. As you can see, there were a lot of stones in there, and sometimes some really huge boulders. It took some effort, but I got the job done. Once the hole was gone, the site became much safer to move around on. That meant I could continue removing the remaining floor structure. In the main part of the house, I still needed to cut the main floor beam and remove the bottom row of logs resting on the foundation. The main floor beam was surprisingly well preserved, even with the white mold gently covering the side that faced the ground. Only the support section was badly damaged. It had rotted together with the wall. This was the windward side of the house, so it had been exposed to rain and weather for years. The result speaks for itself. The bottom row of logs had been buried in something like concrete with no waterproofing at all, so naturally, both the logs and the foundation itself had turned to dust. There was nothing worth saving for firewood here. Besides, the logs had become home to all kinds of creatures, and the residents made it very clear they were not interested in moving out. So before they could scatter everywhere, I quickly cut their house into transportable sections and hauled it far away. The floors in the second half of the house were not built nearly as solidly as the main section. In the main house, the floors were made from rough boards about 50 to 60 millimeters thick. Here, it was thinner mixed-width boards, around 30 millimeters thick, plus a lot of short leftover pieces. Basically, they built it from whatever they had. For me, that actually works out well. These boards will be useful later for braces and supports when I build the foundation formwork. The floor beams and the lower logs in the second half of the house were still in decent condition, so those will become firewood. I was finally done with the wood. Now, only the concrete remained. After honestly judging my own abilities, I realized hauling all of this away with my little machine would take forever, and breaking the foundation in the second half of the house by hand, that probably was not going to happen. The builder really did a serious job. He poured such a thick foundation that I feel tired just thinking about breaking it manually. So, I started looking for someone to help. On the fourth attempt, I found him. I'll admit, I'm still slightly shocked by how much all of this cost, but I know there was no better option. The whole removal job took 2 hours and 2 fully loaded dump trucks. But finally, the demolition story is over. Just 1 year ago, there was still a house here and several old yard buildings. There were mountains of trash and piles of scrap metal. And today, I have a clean site ready for construction. They say tearing things down is easier than building. Now it's time to see if I can actually build something here.